Welcome back, fabulous first grade students. It's great to see everybody for week 4 of RPS at home. Last week, we were working on counting forward from 0 to 110. This week, we're going to build on that. And so we're going to be working on counting orally by ones, twos, fives, and tens to determine a number of objects all the way to 110. So today is our first day of the week, and our I can statement for this week is I can count forward out loud by ones and tens to determine the total number of objects to 110. Now, you are going to need some materials before you get started. These materials are materials you're going to be using all week long. So you need to get a pencil and paper. You can use crayons, markers, but you do need pencil and paper. Also, you need to ask a parent for permission. You will need a group of small objects to count. It could be a bowl with cereal in it, beads, coins, or any small items. So go ahead, pause, and when you're ready, you can press play. Welcome back. Okay, I don't know about you, but I have been home and I've been trying to do some home projects around the house, and I was so excited when I went to clean from under my couch cushions, and lucky me, I found all of these pennies. But then I had to decide what would be the best way to count all of these pennies. You're right. I could count them one by one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. But then I realized that's going to be really hard for me to keep track of. So then I decided using a 110 chart would help keep me organized. So here's my 110 chart, and then I had my group of pennies. So if I had a 110 chart, I could put the pennies on the 110 chart to help me stay organized. So I would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then I started thinking, I actually don't have a 110 chart at home, but I could still put the pennies in groups of 10 to count them. Now there's another tool that I could use that we've used in the last few weeks that has groups of 10. Can you think of what it is? Yeah, I think I heard somebody say it, 10 frames. Well, here are some 10 frames, and I went ahead and took all my pennies and I grouped them in sets of 10 using a 10 frame. Now, if you don't have a 10 frame at home, you could still put them in groups of 10 and then count them. So let's count our pennies together. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 110. So I have 110 pennies that I found. Now, if I were going to count how many groups I had, I would count them in groups. So I have one group, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I have 11 groups of 10 in 110. Good job. So looking at our 110 chart, do you notice any patterns when you skip count by tens on the 110 chart? So what I want you to do is, when I had my first row of 10 pennies, this is where I laid it out. So number 10 landed right here. This is, if I was counting by tens, I would count up and down. Do you remember what that's called? The column. Good job. So you would count the column and you have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 110. I want you to look carefully at that for a minute. And if you want to pause it, you can. But I want you to look for any patterns that you notice on the 110 chart. Oh, I see some people said that all of their numbers are in the same column. Yeah, when you count by tens, all of your numbers are in this last column. Good job. All of the numbers end with a 0 in the ones place. If you look at the ones place, and we talked about place value before, there's zeros at the end in the ones place. And the numbers to the left of the ones place are increasing by 1 in each row. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Good job. Those are 3 different patterns that I see when I'm looking at the 110 chart and I'm counting by tens. Now, why do you think it's important to be able to count by tens in real life? Do you think there's anything that actually comes in groups of 10? Let's look. Did you know that crabs have 10 legs? So if I had 3 crabs and I was counting by tens, I would count 10, 20, 30. That would be 30 crab legs. We talked about this, the base 10 blocks, this is a place value chart. If you have 10 ones or 10 units, you could exchange it for a rod of 10. And if you have 10 rods, you could exchange that for 100 flat. So the value in the place value chart also is based on tens. Most people have 10 fingers or 10 toes. So that can even help you when you're counting by tens. And dimes are worth 10 what? Right, pennies. So if you're counting by dimes, it's going to be really important that you know how to count by tens. So you can always look around your house and count things out in groups of 10, whether it's 10 Legos, and then put those in groups of 10 to see how many Legos you have all together. So what I want you to do now is you're going to be practicing counting a group of objects by tens at home. Now this is where you're going to get out your cereal or your beans or whatever you collected that you asked your parent for. And what I want you to do is I want you to take a handful, put it on your table, and then I want you to separate into groups of 10 and then count by tens to see how many you have. You can pause this and play this a couple different times where you grab a handful and then group them in tens and see how many you have. When you finish playing that, go ahead and press play. Okay, great job. Everybody's worked really hard, and I feel like it is time to get up and get your wiggles out. So we are going to be taking a brain break, and it is going to be a Get Fit brain break where you're going to be skip counting by tens to 120. I know that for our SOL and for our I can statement, we're working to 110, but you guys are so smart, we're going to go all the way to 120. So get up, get loose, get ready, and let's do this brain bake together.
Hey kids, work it out, skip count by tens, build up your brain and body with your friends. Follow me, this is how you count by tens to 120. Right now, crisscross your arms. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 110, 120. Now twist your body. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 110, 120. Hey kids, work it out, skip count by tens, build up your brain and body with your friends. Follow me, this is how you count by tens to 120. Right now, dance steps side to side. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 110, 120. Disco rolls. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 110, 120. Hey kids, work it out. Skip count by tens. Build up your brain and body with your friends. Follow me. This is how you count by tens to 120 right now. That was cool. You did it. Keep counting and moving.
All right, welcome back. Now that you have taken a break, we are going to get focused on writing the numbers that are missing if you count by 10 using the 110 chart. Well, if I'm counting by tens to 110, I'm going to look right over here to the side and I'm going to be writing by tens right by my chart. So I have 10, 20, 30. What's going to go here? Okay, I want you to take your pencil and paper and I want you to see if you can finish your counting by tens all the way to 110. All right, let's see if you're right. 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 110. Now we're going to check to see if we were correct. So look right there. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 110. And I see those patterns. Knowing those patterns really helped me because I remembered that all the numbers were going to end with a 0. And I even remembered to check myself and I realized, okay, the numbers to the left of the 0 they're increasing by 1 in every row. And I remembered that all my numbers were in the same column. So looking at the patterns on the 110 chart actually helped me count by tens to 110. Now, this is going to be our practice set today. Count by tens on this counting map. What you're going to do is you are going to either print this out with your family or you can go ahead and just use your white piece of paper and you're going to be counting by tens. And in this first box, what's the number that I'm going to write? Good. I'm going to write 10. So I'm going to write 10. What comes next? 20, 30. See how far you can go. When you are finished, you can press pause and write. When you're finished, go ahead and press play, and we'll check ourselves. Okay, are you ready to check? Did you have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 110, 120? Great job. Now, I have these task cards that are going to help you use your objects. And these are things that I would like for you to do at home. You're going to start out counting by ones, and you're going to need to count out. So this first job, you're going to count out 50 objects from your bowl of small objects. And then I want you to group them in groups of 10 and count. Then you're going to do the next job, which is count out 30 objects, then count them in groups of 10 to see if you counted correctly. You're going to count out 100 objects, then group them by tens, recount. So you're checking yourself. You're first counting them out by ones. Then when you group them by tens, you're actually checking to see if you counted them correctly. After you've done the first 4 tasks, then you're going to be answering some questions. I counted blank groups of 10 and 50. So you'll count out your 50. So I would put groups of 10, and then you'll check, were there any leftovers? Or did you have groups of 50 with 0 leftovers? You're going to do the same thing here, counting how many groups of 10 do you have in 30? How many groups of 10 do you have in 100? How many groups of 10 do you have in 40? So these are some practice activities that you can do at home as a game. You can play it on your own. You can play it with a brother or sister or other family member, or you can even grab a stuffed animal and play it with a friend. So let's review. Our I can statement for today was, I can count forward out loud by ones and tens to determine the total number of objects to 110. And we talked about how counting by tens helps you stay organized. It's also a faster way to count. It's quicker to count by tens than it is to count by ones. Now, tomorrow we're going to continue working on counting, and we're going to be working on counting by fives. I hope everybody had a great day, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Bye. A huge thank you goes out to the Virginia Department of Education for the activities, and Jack Hartman on YouTube for his Count by Tens to 120 Learn to Count video.